Alright, it looks like we are good to go here. I just want to double check in here and make sure. Let's see. Yep, here we go. All is good. I think. Yes, all is good. Awesome. So, today obviously we are somewhere a little bit different. Sorry, give me a second. This is my work table here, and that's my water heater behind me and all sorts of fun stuff. But I've been working on this woven piece, and it's using, I had a paperback of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, so I've taken the pages that have images on them and taped them together into strips of 4 pages, excuse me, and then cut them into 1/2-inch strips, and I'm weaving those through this rainbow paper. This paper was painted in a rainbow, and I just cut like 2 inches off the second one and moved it on the other end, and then 4 inches and moved it on the other end, and so on, to make it go in a diagonal. And I'm realizing now, as I got about this far, that I really want to have more left over on this end. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to adjust everything up a few inches so that I can do whatever I want with the ends here and actually have a little bit of ends to play with. So I am going to put some marks on the table, I think maybe every 5 inches, just so that I can see if things are perpendicular like they should be. So I just left the edge of the ruler touching the edge of the table and put a mark every 5 inches, and I'm going to do the same over here, so at the edge of the table, and put a mark every 5 inches. So I'm probably off the camera at this point. I will be back, don't worry. Alright, so there we go. So yeah, I just put marks every 5 inches, and I think what I'm going to do is start, here we go, with this piece, which is the last piece I wove, at this mark right here. So that is where I'm going to start, is right there. And I don't have any way to hold that down without, like, you know, putting a pin in it, which I don't want to do, because I don't want to put holes in these pieces, because the way that I want to finish this, you will see the extra parts of the pages that are sitting on either end of the woven rainbow. Let's see, Monica. Hi, Monica. How you doing? Yeah, I'm just having fun with weaving, but I discovered a little issue with it, so I'm trying to raise it up a few inches here. So by raising this, all this weaving up a few inches, I have more room to play with at the end for when I finish it. And I don't know why I didn't think about that when I first started weaving, but I didn't. So now I'm thinking about it. And better now than, like, you know, not until the very end. And then I have to try to figure out how to, you know, adjust the whole thing when it's a lot tighter. The more weaving you have done, the tighter everything gets, and then, you know, badness happens when you want to adjust things at that point. So I'm glad that I figured it out this early on and not like all the way at the end. Here we go. So now I've got these kind of where I want, and I just have to adjust this. We're making sure I've marked the table every 5 inches. So I'm keeping this one here, and I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's a good way to attach this down other than slipping a, you know what, I need to recover the table, so I am going to do a little cheater thing because I need to recover the table anyway. So what I'm going to do is every 5 inches where I have one of those marks, right, I'm going to put a little slit in my tablecloth covering. Okay, and these are the So Tight magnets. I'm going to slide in the bottom piece of that magnet right here under the fabric for the table, and then put on the top piece, and that should hold that piece of paper there. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Just slicing my table cover, sliding the back of the So Tights magnet underneath the table cover. See, now if I had a So Tights mat, then I could just do this on the mat because the mat is magnetic. So that is something, I should talk to them about that this is a good weaving use. Maybe I'll talk to them about doing a tutorial here on using it for weaving, because I don't want to, of course, put pins in my paper if you're doing paper weaving, because the pin marks will be permanent, right? So you don't want to put holes in your paper weaving, but you can certainly use magnets to hold things down. So that is actually, I'm so glad I thought of that. The reason why it works, obviously, I use the tablecloth and the table covering here, but I need to replace my table covering anyway, so I don't mind that I put a couple holes in it. And I'll probably do that every time I get to one of these 5-inch slits. I have a whole bunch of those magnets. You may have noticed me turning around and grabbing them back here. This is my water heater, which is metal, and I have them pinned on. I have them all magnetized on the water heater. That's where they live, is on my water heater, because they sit there nicely. I have a couple on the metal frame of my desk as well. I kind of have them a little bit of everywhere. They have little round ones that are great for pins, for holding like your needles and stuff, or but they're intended for sewing. So if you don't, like, if you can pin your products, you can pin your pieces together. I only grabbed 2 here. Let me grab a few more. So they have them in like different sizes and different strengths and stuff, right? And let me see, there's a delay here, so I'm having a hard time knowing how well you can see me. But there's a metal back, and then here's the front, and it's got the little magnets on it. So then you just stick them together, so you can put, put this under your fabric, put your fabric that you're pinning together, and then put this on top, and it holds everything together, right? So it's really cool. They work really well for various projects, and then they have mats that you can stick the magnets onto, and that is pretty awesome too. So I think I should talk to them, let them know, hey, you know what, you can use these mats for weaving, paper weaving, and hold things down nicely. I might have to maybe, because I've been thinking about making some more of the woven book covers. And it was really a pain to kind of get everything held down when I was making those book covers, to get all the paper, like, holding it all down where I wanted it to be, because I couldn't put pins in it. And it never occurred to me until just as I was chatting with you today that I could get a So Tights mat and use the magnets. That is such a cool plan. I will have to give you guys links and everything later for purchasing So Tights products, but that is such a nifty idea. I can't believe I never thought of that before. It's necessity is the mother of invention, right? So, all right, here we go. This is gonna work. Yay! I'm a happy camper. Oh my gosh, guys! So there is this trade show for camps, for like summer camps and stuff, summer camps, whatever kind of camps, any kind of camps, like usually the kind that are geared towards kids, so they have them for kids with different, different issues, different interests, just because it's summer, whatever. And every March there is the big Camp It trade show, and it's in Atlantic City, right? So this year, several years ago, it was actually the one right before quarantine. I worked one day at the Camp It event for a company, with helping them with their booth. And this year I'll be working one, maybe 2 days. Um, I'm doing things for artistry, the sublimation markers and paint and ink. We're really, for camping stuff. They mainly show off the markers. We'll probably be making demoing keychains. But anyway, so I'll be doing that. But the products, the artistry products, are being sold through like a company that sells a bunch of products, like a store, like like a retail store that sells, like a Michaels sells a bunch of craft supplies, whatever. So there's this company that they're called Happy Camper, which I love. Isn't that cute? The company that sells that that sells the various supplies, including artistry supplies that I'm going to be working at their booth for a day, um, is called Happy Camper. And, I'm not sure if it's Happy Camper or Happy Campers. It might be Happy Campers. It probably is. There's probably an S at the end. But it is. I was so amused when Artistry told me the name of the company that whose booth I would be doing their demos from. It was just the best, because I say Happy Camper all the time. I'm like, I'm a happy camper. Oh my gosh. So that was just, it was just like kismet. I'm like, okay, yeah, well, that I can totally work at a booth called Happy Camper. Everybody will roll their eyes whenever I say something about being a happy camper, and I'll be like, no, really, I normally say that. Because I'm silly. Oh, look, Monique is here as well. Hello, Monique. We have Monique and Monica. Yeah, so that is where I am right now. Normally, because this is Monday, I would be doing my Monday evening. I'd be leaving at like, once Vero gets home at like 2:30 or so, and we would be going over to Edge, New Jersey, because we do that every Monday. However, we are currently having a blizzard, so everything is closed. My husband is a high school teacher, and his school is canceled. My son is a college student at the community college in the next county, and his school is canceled. And of course, Edge, New Jersey is closed today because of the weather as well. So, yeah, everybody's closed. Actually, yesterday morning, as soon as we got up, I realized, I was like, oh, you know what? As much as I'm not like one of those people that's like, oh my gosh, I've got to go and stock up on everything before the snow hits. It occurred to me that normally my grocery shopping day used to be Monday, but I switched it to Tuesday when we started doing Edge. And it occurred to me that I probably wouldn't be able to do grocery shopping on Tuesday, because, or even if I could, it would be annoying, as much as I have four-wheel drive. Just because I can drive in the snow doesn't mean I want to. And I mean, I can. Like, not only is my car capable of doing it, so am I. Like, I'm used to it. I had to do it a lot when the kids were younger. We had a lot of, like, just intermittently snowy winters where there was always a decent amount of snow on the roads, and so I was always driving in the snow, and I'm very used to it. But this is a situation where they've asked for people to stay off the roads, because it's just coming down nonstop, and so they can't, it's like the roads won't be constantly clear because it's constantly snowing. And so the safest thing for everybody is to not be driving, and then also it makes it easier for them to keep the roads clean, to just keep up with it, so that they're constantly cleaning the roads and it doesn't get out of hand. So yesterday morning I was like, crap, you know what, we should probably run to the grocery store, just so that I'm like, because if we don't, we're going to run out of groceries before it's really safe to drive. So we did go to the grocery store. We didn't need bread, but we did need milk and eggs. And a few other things as well. So yesterday morning, Doug and I went to the grocery store and got that out of the way. And then today, Doug and Vero both have no school. And we'll see if it looks like there'll be school tomorrow or not for either one of them. We'll see. The last time, a couple weeks ago, when there were some snow days, Vero only had one and Doug had two. Vero was off. They were both off on Monday, and Doug was also off on Tuesday. So we'll see. But then it turned out that the teacher, the class that Vero had on Tuesday, that teacher didn't feel safe driving, so she ended up canceling the class anyway. And he only had one class. He only has one class on Tuesday. Although he said if school's not canceled, but his class is, he might still go tomorrow because he's volunteering on the school musical. Hair. This is the show they're doing right now, and he was supposed to be there tomorrow if they're having it. So if that's still happening, he'll go. He just won't have to go quite so early. But, so yeah. So here I am. This is so cool. I finally, between yesterday and today, like yesterday I had a bit of an idea on okay. Like when I first started this, I had an idea of how I wanted to do the background, but it kind of kept bothering me. Like I'm not really sure that was really the way I wanted to do the background of it, like the framing or whatever of it. And so then yesterday I actually got another idea, and that was making me happy. And then this morning I thought of a problem with that idea, something that probably wouldn't make me so happy. And so I thought some more and figured out how I want to handle it. So, all right, I'm at this next line. So what I'm going to do now is change the line a little bit so that it is going to be directly, I'm going to have to move it down a little. Because it's not going to be right at the bottom of the next piece. So let's see. The bottom of the next piece would be on this side. Let's see. 9 and 1/8. I'm sorry, 9 5/8. So I'm going to remark this at 9 5/8. And then I'm going to go over here and mark this one at 9 5/8. And then I'll be able to put in the sew type magnets and have another strip that's magnetized down. So I have the little slicey guy. We will go ahead and open this right above that line, and we'll open this right above that line. Okay, and I'm going to slide this up so when I put the magnet on, I'll have the paper there too. So we're going to get this one laid out where we want it. Some of this little, because remember how I said at the beginning that when I had painted this piece of paper years ago, for what I was using it for, I had the stripes were just straight across. So once I cut it into slits and I put it on the table, what I did was I cut the first one, I lined up here, and then the second one I cut 2 inches off and lined it up. Then I cut 4, then 6, then 8, and so on. And then what I did was I taped those pieces that I cut off onto the other end to give it this nice diagonal. So there are places throughout here where my weft pieces of paper, the vertical piece, sorry, that would be the warp. The vertical pieces of paper are taped together, and I need to be careful when I get to them. All right, so let me see. I'm trying to decide if I drew that line a little bit low, in which case I can just, you know, pop the magnet the same distance above it, but on each side. But I think it's actually good. So now I'm going to take the metal piece of the So Tights magnet and find my slit. There it is. Slide the metal piece in. I could have made that slit a little, here, you know what we're actually going to do? Haha. It's a good thing I'm replacing this because I'm realizing that it's going to be really difficult to get these magnets back out again. It's fine, don't worry. I'm not worried. I'm just going to slide it this way. Whee! I'm such a dork. Alright, there. Almost. A little bit more. I just don't want it, I don't want it underneath the warp threads. I only want it under the weft threads. I should have slid the magnet in the other direction. For some reason I didn't. That would have been the smart move, but oh well. Okay, so there we go, and now I need to just pull this to get it lined up properly to the piece next to it. Okay, and now, here's the one I took the magnet off of. We'll toss the magnet back on, and that'll hold that end. And then I'm going to go over here, and here is my slit. On this side, I put the slit up plenty high. Good for me. Yay! Okay, so I slide in that magnet, get this piece of paper just how I want it. See, and then when everything's all pinned down, magnetized, you know, held down with the magnets, if I need to adjust the spacing of the pieces in between, I can. And every 5 inches or so, there'll be a piece that's being held down nicely. Here we go. See, if I'd really planned this out, it would have been like the first one and the last one of each set of pages. All right. Comments. I'm having so much fun. I've ignored you guys. Sorry. Monica says that COVID taught her to keep plenty of food on hand. Monique says, I'm shocked we only got a few centimeters of snow, and that she's in the car now starting to drive, and that's why she's quiet, doesn't know what's going on right now, but it looks really pretty. I'm not surprised. Monica said she missed the first part too. It's very pretty. Yeah, so I'm in North Jersey, and we are definitely getting snow, like lots of snow. And this is, for those of you who are coming in later and missed the beginning, when I missed me explaining what this is, I seem to be hot. There we go. The pieces of paper going this way. The warp, that would be the warp threads, the warp papers, are just rainbow paper that I have lined up diagonally to give it, whoosh, diagonal rainbow, right? And it's just brown paper that was painted with, it was actually painted with artist-free sublimation paint. So I painted it, and then I made, I took some of the polyester, because sublimation is the iron-on stuff, and it irons on polyester bases. So there's a polyester yarn, Feels Like Butter from Lion Brand, is polyester. So I took like 4 skeins of that and turned them into like sock blanks. So basically just like garter stitch, like 12 inches wide, the full, or more like 14, I think about 14 inches wide is what it was, and just garter stitched the whole thing, right? Or I think I actually stockinette stitched the whole thing. So I ended up having 4 of those, and then I took packing paper, like what you get when you get a package, and I painted it. And there's a post on Jessie at Home about this. But I took the packing paper and I painted a rainbow across the pack. Well, I taped the packing paper together to be the same size as the 4 sock blanks all stuck together. And I painted a rainbow on it with the sublimation paint. And then what I did was I put the packing paper with the sublimation paint face up on this table, and then I put my my yarn, my little knit sock blank, my knit blank, on top of that, and then I covered it. Then I had the you know, there's the protective paper that you use with those things, so I had that, and I have brain fry now. I have a Cricut heat press, and so I just, like, you know, one big square at a time, heat pressed it all down really, really well to get the color to transfer onto the sock blank. And then I flipped the sock blank over and did it again because there was still enough paint on the paper, and of course not every bit of the knit piece touches the paper because of the texture of the knit. So I flipped it over and did it again on the back, and then I unwound, I frogged the knit pieces and wound them into a cake, and now I have this really cool rainbow yarn that I did with sublimation paint, because when they first came out with sublimation paint, I was like, I bet I can do something really fun with yarn with that. So that is what I did, because I've always thought sock blanks were fun. So then this was the paper that was left over, and I was like, this is cool, I'm not going to get rid of it. And I've kept it for years. And then I was like, ooh, I can use this for weaving. So I can grab it in a second. There were actually 3 panels of paper that I had taped together. And this is, well, it was 2.5. So this is 1.5 of them, because the first one I wove without adjusting the rainbow to be diagonal, and I just used brown paper going the other direction. But then I decided this one I was going to do this cool thing with. So let me grab the other one and I'll show you. Hold on. Be right back. It's just right over here. Okay, so I've actually coated it also, so it can be used for like book covers and stuff. It's just been coated with a book glue that works for coating covers as well. And yeah, so this is the full rainbow piece. So that's what this paper was. It had this rainbow on it. And after I cut it, you can see over here that I cut and left the top still joined so that it would stay together, right? And then this one I actually slid it all the way through, and then slid each one 2 inches off the previous one to make the diagonal. So that's what this rainbow paper is. Hang that over there, maybe not. Here we go. Stay. Sit, Ubu, sit. All right. So there we go. This is my last piece on this set of pages, and then I have 1 set of pages to adjust. Okay, here's my next line. I'll actually probably just pin down the very last one that I do. Magnetize down the very last one that I do, and then I'll be able to keep working up in that direction. But we're going to stop before then. I have a little bit of a headache today, and I'm not sure why. You know what, actually, Vero yelled at me yesterday because it was time for dinner, and we're water drinkers in this family, right? So usually when you know, we're getting ready for dinner, Vero will grab whatever cup of water I'm drinking, whatever cup of water Dad's drinking, and fill them up and put them on the table, right? When the table gets set. I have a prescription ready to be picked up at Stop and Shop, but I didn't call anything in. And so yesterday he's like, Mom, where's your cup of water? I was like, oh, I don't think I have one. He's like, you haven't had any water today? I'm like, no. He's like, Mom, that's not good. You need to drink. He's like, this is not acceptable. You need to drink more water. Just because it's not hot doesn't mean you shouldn't be drinking water. I'm like, oh my God, my voice is coming out of my son. But it was so cute because he was so mad at me because I hadn't been drinking water. And now I'm here and I'm going, I have this like headache, and I'm thinking about it and I'm like, this is I'm dehydrated headache because I didn't drink enough water yesterday. And I'm not going to tell Vero because he'll yell at me. Oh. Oh my gosh, my kids are the best. So yeah, he is correct. Just because it's not hot doesn't mean you don't need to hydrate. So make sure you're hydrating, people, even if it's not hot where you are. Oh my goodness. So here we go. Adjusting the layout. I seem to be stuck on something. There we go. This is so cool, guys. I'm having so much fun with this. It is really going to be neat. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so it's not going to be in a frame when it's done. It's going to be on a background. The base, it's going to be the base will be chipboard, like bookboard, but it'll be covered. So it'll just be like a big flat panel. And then, if it feels the need to be framed, it can be framed on the big flat panel. I need to think about if I want to seal it anyway. I think what I'll probably do first is I have a fixative spray that's for art pieces that will make so the paint won't, I don't know if you noticed on the other one, but some of the pieces, the pieces that had been woven, that were the weft pieces that went left to right, the warp threads had bled a little bit, so the paint had bled off from the when I sealed it, when I painted it. I mean, when I covered it with the glue to seal it down. So I think with this one, I will first, just to help make sure that doesn't happen, once it's all done and once it's all done and everything, I will, and probably after it's mounted and everything too, I'll spray it with the workable fixative, to make sure that the paint doesn't bleed. And then I will seal it to keep it from fading. So, yeah, because I really don't want it to fade either. I'm going to have to do a little bit of, I'll do some investigating as to what would be a good thing to use to keep it from fading that also won't discolor over time. I think what I have is safe, but I want to double check it because it is safe for bookbinding. But I want to check to be sure. Because it would be a bummer to do all this work and then seal it and coat it so that the paper doesn't, discolor, and how paper will get brown and brittle and all of that. It would be a real bummer to do all of that and seal it and everything, only to have, sometimes like glues turn yellowish or whatever. So we'll see. We will see. I really think, actually, just Elmer's glue would probably work. I don't think Elmer's glue discolors over time. But I want to make sure. I don't want to guess, right? So So, or the book glue. The book glue, and the thing is, like, people are like, oh, you know, Elmer's glue and lots of book glues are very, very similar. Elmer's glue is just not, like, archival, but it is acid free. I can't remember what the difference is. What somebody was saying is the difference between Elmer's glue and book glue, but it's like pretty minimal, to the point where there's plenty of people who use Elmer's glue for bookmaking instead of book glue. But I would, again, need to do a little more investigating, because I don't know for sure, and it's not something I want to guess about, right? Like, there's a difference between the projects where you're just like having fun and experimenting, and the projects when you want something to be like all totally done and nice. Okay, I think what I'm going to do here is get this down to the last one, and then I'll measure up from the bottom to the last one to make sure the last one is starting the same distance away from here, and pin it down. Rather than pinning this one down, I'm at the next line when there's only, you know, 3 more left. So I'm going to do that. And I think once I get this whole thing shoved up, well, I still have a couple more pieces on this set of pages. We'll see how I'm feeling. Like I said, I do have a little bit of a headache. I think it's because I didn't drink enough water yesterday. But here we go. And so, yeah, so one of the things, like, I love Alice in Wonderland, and you might have noticed, like, in the thumbnail today, the picture in the thumbnail for the video, for the live stream, has one of the actual photos from the book, the Alice in Wonderland photos. And if you know me, you know that I am, like, super respectful and cautious about licensed, you know, other people's property, IP, other people's intellectual property, licensed products, licensed images, all of that. Alice in Wonderland and the original illustrations are all public domain at this point, which is why you see a lot of the original Alice in Wonderland images places where you don't see other, like, licensed images. It's because it's totally legal to use them in pretty much any form. So that's why I was able to use one of the Alice in Wonderland illustrations in the thumbnail for the live stream today, because it was totally legal to do that. But I am always, always cautious about other people's intellectual property, copyright, trademark, licensed images, and just being, you know, ethical and a good, you know, respectful of other artists. So that's one of the things I love about Alice in Wonderland. I love the Alice in Wonderland story, and I really love that it is public domain at this point, because it means that's why people are able to make so much art with it and to share it so much, because you don't have to pay anybody money to be allowed to do that. You know, it's all legal. So there are copies of sometimes you buy a book that's like it's the printing of the book that's from some company, and they have their own illustrations, right? And it's not the original illustrations, and I wouldn't be able to use that. And there are certain things that you can't use because of the way that it's been published. Certain Alice in Wonderland things you can't use because of the way they've been published. But this particular paperback that I had is all the original stuff. It hasn't been edited in any sort of a way that makes it, that removes it from public domain as far as using the pages for art and such. So, and yes, I have multiple versions of Alice in Wonderland. So, let's see. All right. There we go. So now I'm going to measure up from the bottom of my table here, and see if I line that up with the bottom of my table. This one is 3 3/8 at the bottom, and this one is 3 1/4 at the bottom. So I think I'm going to move it to, I'm going to put them both in at 3 1/4. All right, and then I will adjust things from there so that everything is nice and even. So I'm marking this one at 3 1/4. I'm going to go over here a little bit and mark it at 3 1/4 as well. And then, look, magnet. I'm marking this one at 3 1/4. Right there. And right there. Okay. And then I'm moving the ruler out of the way, grabbing my blade, putting a little slice there, little slice there. All right. And magnets. All right. So we're going to use the smaller one on this side here. Okay. Get it right there. Okay. Then we'll go over to this side, and I'm going to have to slide some stuff up because it looks like I didn't have everything slid up as well on this end. On this side of my weaving seems to be a little looser than the other side of my weaving. So we're going to slide everything up a little bit to try to get it an even distance. It's just a little bit too low on this side, so just a little bit. I don't like doing this because I put little dents in the sides of the paper. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to slide this magnet in on this side. Come on. Didn't quite make that slit wide enough. There we go. Get my paper lined up exactly where I want it. And put the magnet on it. There we go. That is so cool. I'm so excited that I thought of that. Right? All right, so there we go, guys. That is so cool. So now, one of the little tricks I did to make the weaving go faster was I actually first wove every other one in, because every other one goes underneath and over and under the same pieces of paper, right? So up here are the pieces that have been pre-woven, and then I have my other pieces that sit next to those, and I need to make sure that I am. This is not the next one. This is the last one. I think this one got moved. Yes. Nope. Maybe that one was next. I think it is. It is. Okay, so you can see, like, I just had to line it. I'm lining it up to make sure that everything is lining up properly, and I'm not about to put the wrong piece in. Because that would be a bummer. So then what I've done is I have this, it's a bone folder, or paper, for folding paper. It's actually acrylic, plastic, something. It's from Clover. It's a point turner, actually. It's a sewing point turner is what it is, but I also use it for folding. I use it the same way I would use a bone folder. All right, so I'm using that to go underneath a few of the pieces of paper. You can see this is one that has torn, and that's fine. When I get to that point, I'll tape it back together again and from the bottom, and it's all good. All right, so I'm going underneath the pieces that need to go underneath, and then I'm just giving it a little, I'm just angling it to pull that up a little bit so it's easier to weave the paper through. Underneath the next 3 that are going underneath. and weaving the paper through. So that's all I'm doing to weave. And then the next one I'll just slide down because I pre-wove every other one. I just stacked them together and wove them all through at one point, then spread them back out in order, and I just slide them down. Every other one is just sliding down, and every other one I have to weave. So here we go. I do like it's fun to do really cool designs with the weaving, but I also really just like the 1-1 over under weaving pattern, and using different colors or textures or whatever in each direction to get your little checkerboard weaving pattern. It's just there's something about the simplicity of it, and using that simplicity to create something new. I don't know. There's something about the simplicity of it that just like speaks to me. Not everything has to be difficult and elaborate and everything. Yeah, this is taking time, but it's not super complex. It's just my childhood. It's like one of my favorite books. It's always been one of my favorite books, and the older I get, the more I get from it, and it's followed me through my life, and I love the book. I love the story. And then the rainbow, people are like, what's your favorite color? Rainbow. But then, everything that rainbows also mean to me of acceptance and love and joy and all of that. And it's just all woven together. And yeah, so it's my childhood. That's all this is. This art is my childhood. And even my adulthood. It makes me happy, and isn't that what I should do? All right, see, that was pretty easy, and that was one of the ones that I actually had to weave. And now I'm just going to take the next one that I had pre-woven, and slide it down. Okay. Alright, so this piece came untaped. Which happens sometimes once they're... Oh, I dropped something. That might be my blade, but that's okay. It's a safety blade. It's totally inside the little container at this point. Alright. Yeah, it was my blade. So now we're just sliding it down and getting everything pushed down where it should be. And then I'll have to weave the next one. So here we go. So there, yep, nice. Whee! All right. So that's all that we're doing here. I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to stop at this point because, like I said, I have a little bit of a headache, and I'm also a little bit hungry. But you got the idea of how I'm doing this. And, oh, you know what? I am going to show you something. Let me see if I have this set up so I can switch to the other camera. I think I do if I pop over to here. Nope. I put the wrong one in there. All right, that's okay. I have, let me grab it right here. One of my other Finish It February projects has been working on illustrations for the Stitchopedia with the various, stitch directions and everything. So here I have illustrations for making a slip knot, and then here are illustrations for making a chain. Then this is the front of the chain, the top of the chain, and the bottom of the chain, so that I can, show you front loop, back loop, bottom bump. And then this is, what is this? This is the beginning of a single crochet. And then this is continuing a single crochet. That's the first row of single crochet. And then over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of single crochet, and they're in rows because you can see we have a back, a front, a back, and a front. So, or wrong side, right side, wrong side. No, it's back. The back of the stitch, the front of the stitch, back of the stitch, front of the stitch. Anyway, so there you go. That was another thing that I've been working on. I obviously still have more to go with that. And I just have, these are pieces of paper that were cut off from, I think from a book that I made. They were the scrap pieces, and they work well for doing the illustrations on. And then I'm using the Sharpie paint markers, creative marker, Sharpie creative marker, that they've only been out for a couple of years, so, and they're really cool. All right, so that is it for me.